I did grow up in South Central Oklahoma. I was the country farm kid that came to school telling you about wringing necks of chickens, and my classmates in Norman, Oklahoma didn't always think that was so cool. And my dad was an ag teacher, my mom was a home economist, so we grew up on the farm. I didn't like picking green beans. I didn't want a 2-acre garden. And the funny thing is, I ended up teaching agriculture education in Norman and more. I ended up doing a lot of horticulture, a lot more gardening than I ever thought I would do. And so you kind of have to be careful about some of those things that you kind of didn't value like you do later as an adult and as a person raising your own kids. So we grew up very much prominent with livestock with horticulture on the side. As I transitioned, and now my job is working with agriculture business in terms of McLean, Cleveland, and Garvin counties. So I have small producers, large producers, specialty niche markets. And so I kind of feel like I have the best of both worlds. I get to work with producers every day. We take on a lot of different adventures and do a lot of different things trying to help producers be economically successful in our communities. And that's my job. And that's a resource to you that I always want to reiterate. If you have a career technical school in your area, your taxpayers go for people like me in your communities. And so we're there to help, kind of like Extension. We work together in training and working with customers and clients in our area. So value added, when we look at the definition, we're going to add value to an existing product. When I taught agriculture education, I would bring in products to the students and I would say, all right, how can I take this corn or this particular wheat, what else can we turn it into? Besides flour, what else can we do with this product that's not out there? Because in a sense, in agriculture, we're all the time trying to add value to what we do. Somebody, who came up with popcorn? Did it sit in the back of a truck after we had gathered the corn from the field and it got too hot, popped, we created this great type of product? Well, the great thing about when we look at value added is what's happened in the market. People want ready. People want things that extended that shelf life, and so we know consumers are willing to buy value-added products. Now what's interesting is value-added has really extended what it means. Used to, we only thought of physical products, and I think this is where you're going to get to add some things to it. As we look at the advantages, we know we can get extra farm income, we can extend our seasons. If I'm growing strawberries, what happens in a couple of weeks? They can run. We may not get them all sold. So what do I need to do? Can I freeze them? Can I put them in a smoothie salad so you can make a smoothie? What can I do with these products? That gives you extended season. That gives you more time to recoup your money. Hopefully keep your cash flow going so you're not going to the bank and getting a loan. The other thing about it is you extend your market reach. How many customers could physically maybe take your product to another state or give it to a friend that maybe isn't in your 50-mile radius typically, right? Your branding, your opportunity to increase people knowing who you are and increasing that loyalty, that's huge when we look at value added. Some of the disadvantages typically, there's a learning curve. And I'm going to tell you, it's kind of scary. And you're probably going to say this too. That intimidation of what you don't know, but sometimes ignorance is bliss. Okay? Sometimes if you knew all those things, you wouldn't do it, right? We've all been there. I know I have. If you haven't, then you're a better producer than I am. But when we look at, we've got to gain the knowledge and we've got to look at those resources. And the thing I want to reiterate to you is we are operating an agriculture business. And we need to know the numbers, and we need to know what it's going to take these products and add value and not be afraid to price them, okay? Because when we move into processing, and I'm going to kind of speak specifically on more of the gourmet type of products and canned or jarred type of items, we've got to have kitchen space, we've got to have storage. There's cost involved in that, and that is kind of a daunting expense when we look at it because we're like, how are we going to come up with this? What are we going to do? Where am I going to store it? What's the rules for doing this? As you're trying to decide whether you want to jump into value added, there are business incubators out there that can help you make this jump not so scary with your products. Just like an incubator for chickens and for eggs, they create an environment so that we can hatch those eggs, right? Business incubators do the same thing. What they will do, and I'll give you an example, one of our technology centers at Enid, Oteatri, has a commercial kitchen. They may prorate the rent. You don't pay any rent in year one. They help you with the business plan. They help you with your product. Year two, they prorate, maybe they charge you a little bit, okay? And they're walking you through all of this. Same thing can happen. I've given you some other resources. These others are also kitchens too that you can rent their spaces, okay? So that's giving you some other resources in the area that you can also look up and utilize. Don't fear the rules. I always get a little pushback when we start to talk about rules and regulations. And I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I'm a rule breaker too, okay? Not always intentionally, trying to sometimes do the right thing, but when we start to look at commercial kitchens, and I always hear this, and we talk about manufacturing, and some people are like, my kitchen's cleaner than the kitchens I looked at for renting. And I've been there. I've done that. There's places I would not have rented that I went and looked at with a client, okay? Again, we want to charge top dollar for our products. We want to guarantee customer safety and traceability with our products. So we want to be utmost and foremost doing all that we can to do that, right? I believe we do in agriculture. So as we look at that, there's a lot of spaces available for commercial kitchens that a lot of people don't think about. Your schools, your churches, your county extension offices, county fairgrounds. A lot of these will do it at a minimal cost. Some of them may do it for free if you happen to be a part of that church, whatever. The scary part about all of that, it's the manufacturing permit that you have to do with the State Department of Health. And this is where, when you look at this, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to comply with this. I got to have the schematics. I need to know the layout. I got to give you all these things. And a lot of it, it's not things you and I deal with every day, right? It's not verbiage we use. It's not things that are familiar to us. It's a lot easier than it appears. We ended up actually utilizing our kitchen space at the technology center where I'm at. She inspected it. She then had each of them fill out this manufacturing permit. They had to submit their recipe, their label. They had to submit that they were an LLC, all the proper documentation of being an actual business. And that's between you and the state. That's not John and Kay wanting your stuff or any kind of proprietary stuff. And here's the deal. If you do a salsa or a pickle, for example, your pH, and that becomes more of a high-risk item. So they're going to make sure that your profile, your recipe profile, you might have to work with OSU Food Ag Processing Center, and they're going to have kill steps. They're going to make sure that you're doing everything you need to do to make sure that that product is safe. And you document that with them, okay? And it's not scary. It's not near as bad as what it seems to be. Another great resource that I found besides OSU was co-packers in the industry. And I at least know of 4 that we've had customers that have worked with individuals. One of them that has helped us a lot is an Enid. I just went blank on Over the Fence Farms, but Spotted Cow Manufacturing. But Linda is great. So if you have a question, like we might be wanting to freeze the strawberries, for example, for a customer. I need to know, can we do that? How much more paperwork are we going to have to document from the field? Are we going to have to transport it once we freeze it in a refrigerated truck? All of those steps we're going to have to make sure we know and do to help her to be able to get the manufacturing permit. Okay? And so those, again, are resources because Linda wants people to do it, or if we can't do that, we can direct them to a co-packer. We want to be the top of our game. If you want top prices and you want to tell that consumer, you know me, you know my product, we want to do the very best to do that. And it's our job to inform people, I just paid $4.25 to manufacture this product, especially for you, safe, clean, following these rules. That's why mine's $10. Okay? And don't be afraid to do that. Customers want to support you. And if they don't, there's another customer down the street. Or move to a different location. Okay? So I think sometimes in agriculture we don't price it all the time. Sometimes I feel like my dad does this. He prices it like he wants to buy it. And then, you know what I mean? Like he thinks, well, they're not going to pay that because I won't pay that. Well, you know what? We got to get past that mentality. And we have to be in the industry to say, man, are you counting for every nickel, dime, and everything you put into it to get to this product? Did you count your truck? Did you count storage space? And we don't always do. To me, that's where we got to go back to. It's a business. We're operating a business. We're moving this beyond a hobby, and we want to know the numbers, and we want to know what we're doing. So the public endorses us. So there's resources to help you. This is a very simple application. If any of you have questions, you're going to have my email and contact information if you move in that direction. Andrea Graves was a great resource with the Food Ag Processing Center. They're wonderful. Don't be intimidated by using them as a resource. They're here to help you. They have great training, short-term trainings. Again, if you've never toured the Food and Ag Processing Center, I challenge all of you, if you're going to do a food business, you got to go see them. Go see them making flour and salsa and some of the projects that they're working on. Again, it helps you to understand the industry and understand your product. And I think that's what I would call product research that you should be doing. So, and they're open to having you. I was talking to Bill because I'm going with a customer tomorrow. We're trying to find someone to do beef jerky. And it's meat inspected, and there's other rules that govern that, so it's not like we can just go buy a bunch of dehydrators and set up shop. Right, Bill? They've got to be inspected with an inspector every 8 hours if they're running 2 cycles. So there's an expense there, but if my client's not willing to invest in that, there's co-packers that do that. So we're going to go look and weigh those options and see what it would take if he wants to manufacture his or if we need to go to a co-packer. But again, there's great people out there telling you, hey, here's 2 or 3 of these people, go see them, they'll help you, they'll talk to you. So again, I listed some of these other agencies that can help you, and I think I sent her a copy of the coordinators, the incubators, and then I just gave you a bunch of other marketing materials and other stuff in terms of marketing and value added, and I think that was pretty much it.